Hello. I. All right. Wolf, if you're still here, what's up? All right. I am ready. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Go to. Welcome to episode 368 of the Center Ring Esports podcast, presented by Philly Esports. How does this intro go? Why do I forget it now every time? Welcome to episode 68.
I'm never listening to you at the beginning.
I don't think I'm listening to myself. I think that's the issue. It normally comes natural, and it's...
I was actually setting up my screens right now.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to episode 368 of the Center Ring Esports podcast, presented by Philly Esports. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we are catching up on things that we have missed. We haven't done a real show here in almost 3 weeks. So we have a lot of catching up to do. So it's almost like an extended e-news, but more type of episode. Typically do this every year, so you know what it is. We're just catching up. Also, Yikes of the Week returns, and the Timmies, just a friendly reminder so I don't forget, is next week, so be prepared for that as well. But before we get to any of that, let me tell you about Philly Esports. They are our good friends. They host multiple monthly tournaments that you can sign up completely free with cash prizes. So where else can you win money for paying nothing? Coming up January 29th, they have a 4v4 Halo Infinite tournament. And March 26th, mark your calendars, they have already set up a singles tournament for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So high school event fundraiser hosted by Montgomery County Community College. So support a good cause, win some money. It's a win-win for everyone. PhillyEsports.gg.
Hey, this is Flamey, and you are listening to the Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. This is episode 368, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is January 10th, 2022. The time, 9:09 p.m. Central Time, of course. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Be aware of all show news and fun things like that. If you missed the show from last week, we, no spoilers, tweeted out today our tier list from last episode. Good responses. I feel like we nailed it this year. So
it was pretty positive responses on there. I hope the people that commented on the previous post, which was talking about last year's tier list, and I don't think people saw the year when we posted it.
Right.
Hope they go back and look at this, because I would like to critique now just to see what people think, because I genuinely agree. I think it's a fairly unbiased list.
Yeah, I think we did well. Professionals. We are unbiased after all. Go ahead. That's at The Center Ring on Twitter. Follow it, tell your friends, your loved ones, all that fun stuff. And you can join our Discord in the description of said Twitter account and be a part of the conversation as always. My name is Tim. I will be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
Ready to catch up on some news. We have so much to go over. It's kind of insane. We thought it would be a slow period. Not the case.
It really wasn't.
Not the case. Everything that could have happened.
And in fact, looking through the notes, because we kind of kept up with it, as it was coming along, there are a lot of things that I forgot even happened.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things. So this will almost be like re-breaking news for us because a lot of this I just forgot was a thing. So I'm looking forward to it. I have some early breaking news for the show, some personal life updates, Anuj. So, as many of you know, death is a part of life. And that's no different for us gamers. And I have to say, after 5 beautiful years with my Razer Death Adder Elite, it is finally dying on me.
Have you picked its predecessor at this point?
I have.
Successor.
I have. And to be honest, I've given this more thought. Like when my wife asked, hey, are you ready to have kids? It was pretty much instantly, yeah, sure, why not? Like, what's the big deal? What can be so life-changing about that? Picking out a new mouse, I have done so, like, it's been about a week when, like, I started noticing the ghost clicks, right? It's like, it still works. I can still game, but it does, like, I call it ghost clicking, double clicking, the phantom double click. It's where you click once and it will double click. And it's just mind-numbingly annoying. Like,
that doesn't work in most games we play.
Yeah, I mean, just you're trying to single tap someone, shooting their head, and then your gun's hitting twice, or, you know, you're trying, it's a mess. Even in normal life, it's like I'm clicking on something on a website, and then all of a sudden it will double click. I'll be like, oh, you want to buy this? Like, definitely not. Definitely do not double click that. Thank you very much. So that's what it's doing. So it's for all intents and purposes dead.
You even drove 15 minutes to come to my house.
I did. I went to your house the other night to check out your Logitech Pro Wireless, because that's obviously, like, if you're buying anything nowadays, it's got to be wireless, right? Even though wired mice, let me tell you, they are like so inexpensive nowadays. It's pretty unreal.
Kind of giving them away, it feels like.
A little jealous. Like, I'm almost thought, you know what, maybe I should just go wired, because these things are like $20. Like, for like a Razer Death Adder, I can find it on sale for like $30. So,
yeah.
But I didn't, because I'm going wireless. Going back and forth, Anuj. And you have the Logitech. I have the Logitech racing wheel. So in my dream world, everything would be Logitech, and I wouldn't have to have a million different programs to update all this crap for you. I have a Corsair headset, Razer mouse and keyboard, and a Logitech wheel. So I have everything on my computer. Well, Anuj, I'm here to report to you that I chickened out, and I did not go with the Logitech Pro.
You didn't?
I went with the Razer Death Adder wireless.
Okay, but that makes sense.
The wireless.
I mean, it's like, it's what you're used to.
You
know you're going to like it.
And that's what it came down to is I didn't mind your mouse when I played with it, but it just, you know.
It's a comfort zone thing. Man, the mouse is so important.
It's
like so important once you find the right one.
And
I will say I did make a change from my 502 after using the 502 for 5+ years, maybe even longer. I switched to the Pro, and that was, for me, an amazing change. But if you're used to that bigger Death Adder,
it's tough.
Probably tough to find a
and that's what it is. And you ask anyone, it's like you either love or hate the Death Adder, right? I think it's the greatest mouse ever created. It's so comfortable, and I've used it since day one. Like, since it came out, so it's been what, 15 something years probably.
And like, I mean, for me, if you told me to play with the Death Adder, it would feel like I'm cutting my arm. I can't stand it because it's so much bigger.
Right.
You know, it's just like it's its own size, and that makes it challenging to find, I think, something really comparable to it.
Yeah. So I stuck with it. I'm going with what I know. I owe it to myself, because I've always said, man, if they ever come out with a wireless one, I gotta get it.
You did ask them for a long time.
I did, for many, many years. And it was like $20 cheaper than the Pro. It was I got it on $80. It was on sale for $80. So I'm not complaining about the price. I owed it to myself to give the Death Adder wireless a shot. And all the reviews say it's amazing. Like, they were like, if you like the Death Adder, it's essentially cutting off the cable, and it's the exact same thing, which is all I needed.
So you shouldn't even feel like a change,
no,
you know?
No. So I'm super, I'm joining the wireless gang. Sweet RIP to my baby girl, the Death Adder Elite. But treated me well. She treated me well. Treated me to 3 wins in Fortnite the other night. So three duo queue, 3 out of 4 matches. We won 3. Not bad. Not a bad night for your boys on Fortnite.
I feel like we got the strategy down for our games.
It's honestly, the no building throws so many people. They don't know
to build and don't think about building, and we generally do it.
They don't know to look down. They don't. They seriously, we walk up on so many people because they're looking around for buildings, and we're like, bro, I'm right underneath you. I've been underneath you the whole time.
Right behind you.
Yeah. Oh, hiding behind a tree? You didn't know you could do that in this game? I've mastered it. I've mastered the angle of walking around a tree to where you can't see me, but I can see you. It's some might call it a bitch move. Well, 3 victories say otherwise. All right, so there you go. New life update. Daddy's bringing home a new mouse. So excited. Very, very excited. Anuj. Yeah. I mean, it's this mouse. It's like every click is getting worse. It's almost like hitting like 25% chance. It's ghost clicking on me every time. It's brutal. Let's get into some yikes of the week, shall we? It's been a while. These are yikes of the week, and I'm not gonna lie. In our news update, there will probably be more, but this is what we got so far because there were a lot of yikes that went on while we were out. I will go over this first one here. Now, I put this in the notes. You put it in yikes of the week. I am going to put it in I need more context because I can somewhat understand where he's coming from. A Washington man shot and killed his friend. Over what, you might ask? Diablo loot. His friend stole some loot that he felt was rightfully his. So what do? You pull out a gun and you shoot your friend in real life, killing him.
Like, and he's playing with this guy, I think, for like 10 plus years.
It would be essentially like if
time.
We shot each other.
That's basically what it is. And now, like, don't get me wrong. Are there times where I'm glad we're not neighbors because I might come over and do something harmful? Maybe. So you kind of get that. But
I get it. I want the guy to know, like, yeah, you got to go to jail, but I get it.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I don't agree with you.
Diablo loot of all games, like.
Hey, you know what though? Maybe he got that God roll. He got the God roll.
Like, Diablo 4 is coming out at some point, right?
He got the weapon.
He's about to switch games, like, dude, that's hardcore. I mean, look, I appreciate the dedication to the craft there, but maybe just next time, if there is one for this guy, take the person off the friends list. Just move on from the friendship, and that might
give him a warning shot at the least. Give him a warning shot.
Graze the ear, just get him right across the ear, scare him a little bit, but you took it a little too far. Like that's a ultimate yikes. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that. You're going
not even for a new game either. Like if it was like a brand new game,
that's what I'm saying. If it was Diablo 4 and like a God roll came out. Sure, I get it. Brand new, you got to do what you got to do. You're upset, so take it out. But dude, he was probably playing Diablo 2 Resurrected. This was, or was he on season 26 of Diablo 3 and this happened? Like, you'll be okay. There'll be a season 27.
R.I.P. to his friend. R.I.P. All right.
These are all pretty dark. So
yeah, it's the holidays. For whatever reason, the holidays bring out the worst in people.
It happened right after the holidays. Actually, this is a pretty fresh one here. Street Fighter Pro Rubinho was on stream the other day talking about an instance with his girlfriend, basically like calling her a hoe, saying she slept around with a lot of his friends. So in order to get her back, he essentially took her to a party, got her hammered, and had a train run on her by like 8 of his boys. He said this all on stream. Okay, this is not like some hearsay that he did this, or even an allegation from her, which wouldn't be as concrete sometimes because, not everyone takes this stuff that seriously. He said this on stream. Now, he's obviously been kicked off of his team. He's been banned on Twitch, I believe. And he's now coming out saying, oh, I was just kind of exaggerating. That's not what really happened.
It was like 2 people. It wasn't a train.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like just 2 of my friends that were there. And one of them she had already slept with. So it wasn't that big of a deal. Either way, even if it's a made up story, shitty story to make up. Like that's not even like funny.
I was gonna say, like, what a weird story to brag about.
Weird story to like make up and be like, oh, I'm just kidding. Like, haha, it was a joke. You don't get it? Like rape, ha?
You don't get the punchline.
It just doesn't make sense.
I had all my friends have sex with her. Do you not get it?
I believe my heart tells me there's like a real a part of realism to the story. He might have exaggerated the number or something, right? But something definitely happened to this extent, and so he's saying it was a made up story and wasn't true, and he was just like talking down on her. But I'm not buying that.
No, no. Next yikes of the week here comes from Call of Duty, as you actually brought this to my attention. Simp from Atlanta FaZe. I won't lie, this kind of caught the community by storm, and Simp doesn't. I've noticed this for a guy who is like the simp. Well, funny enough, he's like the simple of Call of Duty. Like, he's young, best in the world, right? Always in the conversation, kind of paving the way. Like, he is the next big guy coming up, right? Not always on the best side, though, for the community. This does not help his case, because he tweeted out, for those who don't know, Twitter is starting to roll out their donation tool, I guess, where you can just give people on Twitter money. I don't, you know, like everything nowadays, if you can't make money off of it, what's the point of doing it?
You can live stream on Twitter, right? Still, is that a thing still?
No, I thought they got rid of that. Periscope died.
What are you donating for on Twitter?
Just a funny tweet, I guess. Like, hey, dude, funny tweet. Here's $10. The over donation in society, I don't understand. Either I'm hearing on one side, everyone is becoming homeless and losing their jobs and the economy is going into shambles. And on the other hand, I see all these kids rolling around in Yeezys and buying, you know, $200 Gucci shirts. So I don't get the disconnect here. And in the meantime, they're also donating and giving away money to people that they've never met before. So Simp gets access to this Twitter donation feature, tweets out saying, hey guys, now you can give me money on Twitter if you support me. Thanks a lot. And that was pretty much innocently enough the tweet. The issue is Simp historically does zero content creation. He does not stream. He's been on record saying he doesn't stream for, you know, it's just
the scrim situation that was just
scrimming and things like that, right? But he doesn't stream. He doesn't create content. He is a pro's pro. So by all intentions, I respect that. If you don't want to stream and you just like, look, my job is being a professional Counter-Strike player. I'm getting paid to do that. That's all I'm going to do. And then outside of this, I'm living my life. Perfectly fine. But when you're asking, like, Tom Brady is not asking for donations.
It just comes across bad that he asked for it. He can do whatever he wants, right? It's his Twitter account. He has the feature, which is fine. None of that's bad. It just, the perception just looks bad. You're not giving anything back in the sense of, like, you're not running giveaways on your streams. You're not doing streams really, but you're not participating outside of the game. So it feels a little weird to go in there and then ask for donations when you're probably also the highest paid player in the game, along with sponsorship deals and all that he's probably accumulated. So it was just a bad look. And I called him out for it too. Like, I also thought, I was like, it's a little odd to be asking for donations. Like, it just, like you said, you don't see Tom Brady doing that. No. You don't see like high profile, you know, if Emma Watson all of a sudden got a donation button on her Twitter account, she's going to like let it be there, but she's not going to create a tweet probably.
I would give Emma Watson all of my money.
But she wouldn't need to tell you to do that.
Absolutely
right?
not.
And so
absolutely not.
It's just one of those things. I also thought it definitely looked
and that's
bad.
The weird,
and
like,
then he went and deleted his tweet
right.
saying like, hey.
But it's just, that's the weird, I don't understand.
He didn't delete the tweet saying, oh, I was wrong here for doing this. It was, oh, y'all are like some weak ass bitches. So because you can't stomach what I said, I'm going to basically I'll delete it for y'all type thing.
That's what I don't like I said, the over donation in society, I call it donation. You're tipping them is what it is, right? But it's like, you don't see Brad Pitt walking down the street and say, hey man, thanks for your latest movie. It was really good. Here's $10. You know, like you don't, hey, proud of what you've made it. Here's $15. You don't do that. Yeah. Why do we feel the need? Simp is making plenty of money off of his salary and prize pool. He does not need your donation. I wish it would almost be more regulated in that sense. I mean, there's no way you can do it because if streamer...
That's what the platforms are built on.
Right. That's what Twitch is, the whole part of it. And I get it.
Again, if you're creating
Patreon,
content,
things like that.
that's like part of it, right? There's a reason you're doing it is to go make that money. I just think it's also weird that he refuses to kind of help
Yeah.
promote the game outside of just his gameplay. And that's enough. That's enough that he has to do. He's amazing at it. He's, if not the best, one of the best, and he's a multi-time champion. So you don't knock him for any of that. It's just he could also be like, Scump doesn't need to stream and make content, but he's building a brand and it's helping promote the game that he's actively playing. If you don't know that Call of Duty is struggling, go look at the stream numbers. And then if Simp went live, it would probably double it. It sits around 3 to 5K. If he got on, he would probably have 3 to 5K watching him alone, So
Yeah.
that would help the brand. It would help the game. Those are things he chooses not to do. And so then when you come out and being like, hey, donate to me, my donation button is on, I think it looks a little shitty.
Fair enough. Last minute Yikes of the Week submission by Wolf in chat. He says CDL prematurely announcing Minnesota is going to be week 2, even though the venue wasn't available for the weekend. So a little.
Yeah, and I think this happened like also a while ago, if I'm not mistaken, where they tweeted it out and like Minnesota jokingly responded like, "Oh, we didn't know that," or something like that on the tweet. But
I missed that.
Yeah, like I even think I saw some stuff coming out where saying that they weren't fully ready, like it wasn't 100% confirmed. But yeah, it was like a premature.
So maybe
tweet.
like the social media intern or something was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." So he probably saw it on some whiteboard in the office and said, "Oh, neat.
Let's get that out.
Week 2, Minnesota. Boom. Womp womp." So there you have it. Yikes of the week. Probably plenty of more to get through, but let's do this. Because really it's just one big catch-up episode for what we missed while we were out. So it's pretty much a super extended e-news where we're going to run through some of this. We're going to go into details on things we want to go into details for. So let's just run through it. Right? It's pretty much how we're going to do it.
I mean, I think we have so much. So really we can start from the top and work our way down here. Because I think as we get probably closer to the bottom, it'll be more e-news-ish. I think a lot of this stuff that we're about to talk about early on is going to be fun to talk about.
Yeah, so a lot of CSGO happening. Probably the busiest CS off-season that I ever remember. I don't think we've seen this active of a CS off-season in my memory.
A lot of big names moving around for sure. Like there's still moves to be made, and I think as those happen, this definitely gets up there with a super busy season. But we just have a lot of big names moving around, right? Like that's kind of unusual, I feel.
Yeah, no, we don't see as like maybe like 1 or 2, and normally they're like washed up names that we see, but these are huge.
Yeah.
Like so with Mouse Sports, first off, ends up dropping Chris J, legendary Mouse Sport. He's been with the team for
8 years.
Forever, right?
Yeah.
So he's no longer with Mouse Sports. Rops has been rumored even before we went on break, right? That he was going to leave the roster, not re-sign with them, sign with FaZe, which he did. So Rops is officially signing with FaZe as FaZe is dropping Olaf, in quotes. I say dropping. He's been kind of just a fill-in for the most part for as long as I can remember. So we finally have it. Rops leaving Mouse Sports, a team that he's been the center focal point since he's been on it, right? Like he joined that team at what, 18, 19 years old. It's when Nico left to go join FaZe, funny enough. Now you have Rops leaving Mouse Sports to now go join FaZe. So we have a little farm system, it seems. I feel 2 ways here. I am sad because it's like at the end of an era with Mouse, even though it's an era that I felt like they never truly lived up to expectations or took advantage of, or maybe they exceeded expectations. I guess it just depends on who you ask. Because for a little bit there, they were like number 2 in the world. Now, even when they were number 2, we talked to Rops at that time, and even he was like, it's kind of a fake number 2, though. Like
we're on a run right now.
We're on a run, and other teams are slumping, so I don't know if we're even supposed to be number 2, but that's how it works out. I am curious to see Rops, though, now, like, on FaZe. He is... There's still a lot of pressure on him, but on a roster where it's like, hopefully he can get a little bit more support than what Mouse was offering. And
I mean, this is a match made in heaven for him, right? Because think about it. When Rops was probably at his best, that was under Kerrigan's guidance when Kerrigan was on Mouse Sports. I think they had a pretty damn good run there for a little while, and Rops was really excelling in his role. But it was too much to ask of him to carry that team at that point. Obviously, you saw changes made, and the rest is history. Kerrigan goes over to FaZe and so forth. Now you pair up Rops again with Kerrigan, where Kerrigan is not your number 2 player on this team, not your number 3 player, might even not be your number 4. You're talking about a lineup with Twist, who still, although not the greatest 2021, an amazing player, a top 20 player consistently. I mean, even for 2021, he was a top 20 player for the year. You pair him with Brokey, another young and up-and-coming talent who at times was the hard carry for FaZe, so we know, the young man can play. Rain has always been a question mark for me. It just depends on which version you get of him. At times he looks like a top 20 player himself. At other times, you tend to see him disappear, but still a good player, right? So if Rain is considered the bottom half of your roster, you're probably okay there. And so I think that FaZe lineup, Tim, deadly lineup.
I think
huge potential for an easy top 5, I think, team.
So this is my only rain on the parade for FaZe Clan fans. We've literally been able to say that about every FaZe roster for like the last 4 iterations of FaZe.
Most FaZe rosters have been pretty good, just not lived up to the expectations.
That's what I'm saying. Like they all on paper would be like, dude, this is like a top 3 team, and then they fall short. Now I will say the difference.
With Nico, they made it to a major, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like now that team should have won a major because that was really one of the most talented teams.
Well, the better team won. The better team won the major.
Was beating Astralis in finals. Like Astralis had a very tough time with them. They lost that major. The mental psyche of that team vanished at that point.
Yeah.
But up until that point, to me, FaZe was probably the best team in Counter-Strike there for a long. I mean, remember how deadly they were? You just didn't want to play FaZe. Even when Cloud9 matched up with them in the Boston finals, it felt like such a stretch to think, oh, well, we made it to the finals. NA's in a finals, but are they really going to beat FaZe outside of you? How many people believe that? It's like it wasn't many. And so...
Right.
That lineup, I think, lived up to potential outside of that one major. But you're right. Since then, the Coldzera pickup, like that never really panned out, I don't think, in any fashion. And even when you paired him up with Nico, like everything just felt off. Roster kind of went into shambles. And now we're back in this, I think, 3rd iteration of FaZe, it feels like. But to me, this feels like a team full of team players, right? You have stars, but like Twist, Rops, Kerrigan especially, Brokey, like these guys are not like, I don't feel like true, like need to be the alpha dog to feel validated. I think they'll do a good job of working together.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. That's the thing that I'm interested in, because you look at these names and you're right. You recognize all the names, but none of them are like, wow, this guy is going to be the hard carry. Like, I think they're all just going to play super well together is what I think is going to happen. Like, I think this is going to be an awesome roster, at least at the start, right? I guess we'll see whatever teams catch up with, but I'm happy for Rops. Hopefully this works out for him to kind of take him to the next step of the career. Maybe we see like a Simple-esque, right? Simple had to go to Liquid to get onto Na'Vi. Maybe this was just the move that he needed to have happen to kind of kick him up a notch. So we'll see what happens to that.
And on Mouse's side, they promoted somebody from their academy roster, which I love to see that. I don't know much about the player Torsky, but I like to see that. And then add NBK, which to me is kind of sad. I kind of wish they had made that move before they dropped Rops, and maybe see how that played out to have another true IGL. There, but
I like
still
the name.
Not bad pickups for them.
I like the signing. We'll see what happens. NBK coming back to Counter-Strike after his very brief stint in Valorant. So it's NBK.
Like Frozen still there, which is not a bad. Obviously, like he's a very good player.
Yeah.
what's his name? Bymass still there. I think Dexter's like the kind of the question mark to see how he rolls with them, and obviously the new guy. But in general, they've done a decent job rebounding from the loss of that, of Rops. Maybe they have another hidden talent on their academy team, because that's what Rops was.
Again, the EU free agency pool is
very different,
borderline cheating when you compare it to NA. Like
NA tries like League of Legends, though, right? Where like NA is getting pretty infiltrated with EU names.
Oh, I mean, it's been like that, I think, for the last 2 or 3 years. Well, especially with COVID, right? When NA started moving over to EU, starting to see that a lot more. Speaking of, and this is actually funny because I was going to say NBK kind of falls into this category. Love the name, love the signing. I don't know how much of it is emotional and how much is practical. And that's exactly how I feel about Liquid signing Shocks. I love it. On paper, I'm all over it. But, like, Shocks has not been Shocks for what I think of a long time. So, like, do I like the pickup for Liquid? Yes. Do I think it's, like, the signing that is just going to push them over the edge? Yeah, I guess it just depends if Shocks decides to kind of get a little more oomph, right? I think they still have to find a 5th player, which everyone is saying is going to be either like, what do you have? What's the rumors I've seen? I've seen Automatic possibly coming back.
Like Automatic, I see if he were to come back, I see him joining EG and they make a duo signing with him and Stewie.
Nitro, I think Nitro is pretty much a hard rumor that he's coming back.
I think that makes the most sense because I don't want to see Shocks in an IGL role. I think he just needs to be there to frag and not have him. And, I'm so questionable on this Liquid roster. If they bring Nitro back, I feel a little better about it. But OC was a good pickup for them. But I don't know if he's a star, right? Like you're losing stars, and now we're picking up based on potential. So OC I think is a good pickup, and it could pan out. I hope it pans out, but it's a wait and see, right? It's similar to Grim in that sense. They still retain Elysian Naf. Shocks to me is a real 50-50 move.
That's what I'm saying. Like on paper, I love it, right? Because you're saying if you would have told me like, dude, we're getting Shocks, that's awesome. And then you're like, oh, I'm getting Shocks in 2022. Okay.
I could have been more excited, with a different name, but I don't know who they were going to get. I don't think this makes Liquid, as of right now, without seeing who their 5th is. If it's Nitro, they could become a contender again. But I still got to see now Nitro come back into CS, and see how. Not to say I don't think it would be good. It would probably be fine, but it's all like a bunch of wait and sees with Liquid right now, and it looks promising. And Shocks again is a great pickup by name. I need to see how they make it all work. Shocks has only been on French teams. Like he doesn't join international rosters, and he's only been on predominant French teams with.
Well, where is Naf from in Canada? Maybe he's French. Is Naf French Canadian? I don't know. He's Canadian. Maybe they can connect somewhere there. I don't know where Naf is exactly.
I think Shocks will be speaking English on this team. So unless OC and Elige pick up Rosetta Stone.
My worry is if Nitro does come back, right, as their 5th, or in general, right, if he just comes back to CS and whatever team signs him. He's coming back to CS because he says, man, I watched the tournament, I watched the major, and I missed it. I want that itch back, right? And my concern for that is you break up with your girl, you go date another one, and then you see your girl out in public, your ex, and you're like, damn, I miss you, baby. Let's get back together. So you break up with your girlfriend now to get back with your ex, and then 2 weeks in, you're like, shit, now I remember why I broke up with you. Right. That's somewhat my concern with Nitro coming back to CS. It's you're coming back because you got the itch to play from watching it. Bro, that happens to me. I have that same issue. But are you going to come back and get on Liquid where maybe the going might get tough again, and then is Nitro's headspace going to be where it needs to be?
I don't see him moving back to Valorant. So I think
that's what I'm saying. I think it's CS or just saying I'm
whatever
retiring.
the next step is. It's like I'm very happy with the move. If he comes back to CS and gets signed by Liquid, it'd be awesome to have a
Right.
player like him
And I don't
back
think
for
he's
NA.
bad.
So.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I think he's bad. I'm just saying mentally, where is he at?
No, I know. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think he's making it for the right reasons. I think he got a taste of Valorant, got to see what it was all about, probably got paid very well, got offered an opportunity to lead considered a top tier NA roster with a top tier Oregon 100 Thieves, and he missed the other side. He missed Counter-Strike. Obviously, he watched the major just as closely as any of us did, and the way we see it in esports, I'm sure he sees the same thing. Like it's just
different.
It's just different.
It's different.
Counter-Strike has a different aura around it.
He got saged walled one too many times and said, "Fuck it, I'm going back to CS.
I just want to shoot some heads.
I'm done with this. What is this game with 10 million flashbangs? I'm going back to CS." So there is that. What else are we looking at? G2.
I want to do G2.
Yeah, I was gonna say G2 has made some signings.
A big pickup, a pickup that everybody has been asking for, but also a pickup that's still going to be a wait and see scenario. They picked up Monesi from Navi's academy team. That name you've heard on this show several times. You've heard on various outlets, thousands of times. But he's a up and coming opper. He was somebody that would be on Navi if Simple wasn't there. Like if Simple were to leave tomorrow, he would have been next in line for that slot. But he was never going to get that opportunity, especially the way that whole team is looking right now. They just won
a major that buys you at least what?
A year? At least a year. Yeah, but like nobody on that team is getting replaced anytime soon, it doesn't feel like. And so the pickup for them, for G2, I think was necessary. We talked about this a couple weeks back before we stopped doing the show for the breaks, that I think you still need a top tier opper to be one of the best teams in Counter-Strike. I think it's too damn hard to do it without a consistent, dedicated opper. I think G2 struggles in that area, and I thought Astralis, another team, since Device's departure, has not found like somebody to really step up and own that role. For G2, this could be huge, right? I don't know who they're dropping yet. It's between Jax and Almanac. There's rumors that Nexa could also be leaving for Alexi B. Now, if they do that, I'm a lot more questionable on this team because now you're making two major role changes and a new leader at the helm with Alexi B being the IGL. So that gives me a little bit more pause for a concern. But I think Monesi joining this team, if it's just a one-for-one replacement, I love the pickup. It's a team that he can grow in. It's a team that will be a little patient with them because they do have stars in other areas to kind of carry this team early through the year as hopefully he progresses. And then you come, later in the year when a lot of these big events roll around and he's kind of in more of his prime play style in terms of at least comfort level. So I love the pickup of Monesi. I'm questioning where this goes from here for G2 because there's rumors flying around, and I'm going to specify that they're rumors, but that gives me a little hesitation if they were to make another change along with them.
I get excited anytime, because he's 17 years old?
He's a kid.
He's super young. So I get excited about that all the time because A, young talent in CS is always good. B, I mean, just look at some of the guys that we've seen. We just talked about Rops. We've talked about Simple, Stewie, all these guys that started out super young. It's like, look at where they're at, right? We always see these top talents coming in. So anytime new talent comes in, I'm always super excited.
Yeah.
Speaking of Stewie, rumors going around all over the place on this one. So Evil Geniuses, obviously looking a little light on their roster. Officially, they have Breeze and Cirque on the roster. I have seen some crazy talk with Evil Geniuses. People are saying now Automatic might be coming back. Evil Geniuses could be a potential landing spot for them, especially with Stewie going in. And I've heard that I don't believe this at all because his stream is doing very well, but Tarek possibly. So you could have a little Cloud9 reunion.
Just got dropped by Evil Geniuses too, right? Like so.
But that's what I've heard is that he got dropped to re-sign as like a
CS:GO player.
Well, just like a different contract write-up or something like that, right? So
I would like that if that was their core. So you bring back the question is, what do you want to do with Cirque, right? Cirque was very inconsistent this past year, but in 2020, I thought he was a fantastic player. So it's like, do we want to run it back with Cirque and give that lineup another shot? My answer is yes. I think if you pick up Stewie, automatic, and let's just say that third slot is Tarek, I really don't mind that lineup. I think if you remove Cirque, then you got to find another opper. And unless you want to make Stewie like your full-time opper because he's secondary is opt a lot, maybe you could try that and mix up his role, but I don't know if he would want to do that.
I don't think he would, to be honest with you. I think he's tried doing the opping thing for a little bit. Didn't he on Liquid? And then
like they made him secondary op a lot, so he's been in the opping role a ton. But I don't know if he would want to do that either. So like I think you run it back with Breeze and Cirque. If you pick up Stewie, automatic, and Tarek, I actually really like that lineup on paper. I think that would be NA's number one lineup. And that's obviously just counting like Liquid, Complexity, and I don't even know who the hell there is for NA, but
Extra Salt. That's pretty much it. Extra Salt is the only reason. Don't get it twisted. Extra Salt is the only reason NA even has CS right now, because everyone's poaching their players.
Dropping everybody. Like they lost.
If it weren't for them,
they dropped Marquee, so they're down to 3 on their roster right
if
now.
It weren't for them, these NA top teams wouldn't have anyone to sign. So thank you, Extra Salt. Speaking of running it back, we have Cold signs with, is it Double O Nation? I'm assuming that's how you actually say that out loud. 00 Nation, Double O Nation, I'd assume.
I'm assuming we'll see the Hen brothers sign on that team
soon enough. Look, it's already got KNG, so that's already some of the Brazilian rotation roster here. So look, I'm glad
Fallen in there. Let's bring FNX back.
Well, now that's what they're saying, right? Because where did Fallen go after Liquid? Has it been officially announced there?
I don't think so.
You know what? You joke, but Henny and Lucas were our former members of Double O Nation. They recently left in December, so just
contract's still fresh.
Just an update on where the One brothers are. So. Whatever. We'll see. Cold, I feel like, is just wanting to go back to play with the Brazilian team, and he's going to just play with whatever, and we'll see. I don't know. Does anyone really concerned with Cold Zero anymore nowadays? Like, do you see him turning it around?
Until I see the rest of that lineup, there's zero excitement right now, right?
Like that's
the rest of the lineup could change that, but it's not enough.
I feel like that's just him getting a paycheck. On that
team, and it's like, oh, I'm going to be watching to see what they do. Like, no.
I agree. Complexity signs Floppy, JT, and Fang from Extra Salt, point in case, and sign Junior and Grim to round out their new lineup. So that would be Grim coming from Liquid. Grim, can I say something? I don't know him personally. We've never talked to him. I've never seen a player get shit on more than him from his teammates on Liquid.
It was just Stewie. Stewie put him in a really compromising position by saying he did not understand his role at this point. Like, I think he was a little harsh, and I think he talked to him about it. Like, he threw him under the bus. I don't think Grim was necessarily a problem with that team. I don't think the team was all having issues because of Grim, and then they couldn't get along.
Right, like Grim was just making everything fall apart.
Stewie really put him in a bad position by calling him out, and I think Grim played pretty decent considering everything that was going against Grim there those last few months. I thought he really stepped up and played well for them when you felt like he could have shut down after hearing stuff like that. The Complexity lineup is nice, but that's what it is. It's a nice lineup. It's a lineup that you're running on potential. You kind of hope they grow together, play well together, and make something out of it. But it is not a lineup, I don't think, on the national stage that worries you right now. In NA's side, yeah, they have the potential to be possibly the second.
Which is what we've always talked about, though, right? We've said, if you want to rebuild NA Counter-Strike, rebuild with NA players, so when things go back to normal, you can worry about being the best NA team. and then start worrying about everything else.
Yeah, it's like a lineup with a lot of potential talent. So it's like one of those things. We got to see how they grow together. I think they'll need a little bit of time, but they can be dangerous in NA. I think at a national level or international level, that's got some room to grow.
Yep. Let's run through some of these because man, we're not even in Valorant yet.
Let's just go. I'm going to highlight it. Let's just do these last two right here.
Okay. Oh, can I just say the last one? I had a funny joke for the one you want to skip. Flamey.
Okay, I'm just assuming there was something more around this because I was like, who really gives a shit?
Flamey returns to competitive play. Former Navi. Flamey. He joins one win, which is probably the amount of wins he's gonna get. Hey! All right, there we go. Flamey's back. Vitality signs Dupree, Magisk, and Zonix as coach, of course.
I mean, what a deadly lineup.
It's not fair. That's stupid. It is.
First of all,
makes me upset.
Video release that they did. Did you see it?
No, I did not.
They have an announcement video. Go watch it. They put a lot of effort into it, so I feel like we should support that. Great video release, but deadly team.
I tweeted that it should be illegal. If this was the NBA, the commissioner would deny this. Like he would. Who was it? Chris Paul, where he denied a trade to New York, Lakers was it when he was on New York? He denied a trade. This would get denied if this was in the NBA because it is stupid that you can sign this type of talent on EU.
I mean, this feels like championship or bust kind of roster, right? Like with this type of lineup on there, you got Magisk, who was probably at times the best player on Astralis over the last 2 years. Dupree, who is Mr. Consistent, right? Like just plays his role so well. Apex leading the helm from a calling standpoint to go along with Zonic, who brings in like crazy wealth of knowledge. And Zonic got offered much bigger deals to go elsewhere, but saw the potential in this lineup, as all of us do, and decided to stay. And then, oh, by the way, we have HLTV's consistent number 1 or 2 player for the last 3 years in Zywoo, right? So this is such a nasty lineup that I think will give a team like Navi like problems and compete for a lot of championships this year. But at the top, Counter-Strike is so healthy right now. There are so many good teams, within the top 5 that could be competing for the top 5 and beyond. And this is just a nasty roster.
Like you see this and you're thinking, oh man, that sucks for Astralis. Their roster is probably cannibalized. No, they're doing just fine too. Like
Astralis, for everything that they've been through, they have got to feel. Yeah, maybe Lucky was the lucky person on that team because they've got to feel blessed with the pickups and to stay old Danish. Like they lost half their team and they found 3 other Danish players to come in and join, and it's just like business as usual. Oh, and by the way, they still have a gun to Bubsky's head there on the bench for them, who like release the kid, please. He's like dying. He's dying so much. He's become a Twitter god. If you don't follow Bubsky on Twitter, follow him. He's hilarious. Like a really, really
That's
funny.
all he has to do now is tweet.
He makes fun of it all the time himself.
He needs the donation button. He needs the donation.
He really does.
Money.
But like they have a 6-man roster of all starters, and they remained old Danish from bench to coach to everything. It's super impressive
EU
what Charlotte was able to do.
EU CS is unreal. Like the talent that is just sitting out there that can be signed is unreal.
Yeah, agreed.
And there's just still something about NA orgs when they sign them, they just decide to suck. So who knows? Who knows? I'll let someone else figure that out. Anuj.
Like the MLS, bro. We get him at the end of the career.
That's right. Last but not least, we have in CS. Don't know if you heard about this one. ESL announced they are hosting a new women's league with a $500,000 prize breakdown. So throughout the course of the season, the league, $500,000 prize money will be given out. This is obviously exclusively for women.
Why would they do this? This
Unreal.
Is the stupidest thing I've... Oh, wait a minute. That would be the dumbest thing to say out loud, Tim.
Like, it's like, are the lands going to be in kitchens? Like, come on,
Like,
ESL.
what is this, home ec class? Like, I don't understand. Why are we
What
supporting
are they going to do when they're pregnant?
2021?
Did you think of that? What happens if a player's on their period? You're going to have a LAN with someone on their period? How's that going to happen? No, of course we are joking, because the amount of shit this kicked up, when I don't think ESL, credit to them, I think that they just thought that it was going to be like a cool little community thing. Hey guys, you know what would be cool? Let's put some money, like let's put our money where our mouth is, and show respect to the female scene of CS.
Just support the female
and
side.
Support it. Give it $500,000. Let's get these orgs involved and let's make it happen. I don't think they thought it was going to be like controversy for the next tweet, not just in CS, but in all of esports that seemed to just upset
it
resonated
deep with a lot of people, and unfortunately for some, it was on the wrong side of their soul here, because I found it so hard to believe that you would just be negative in any way, like regardless of your stance may have not been women don't deserve this. Your stance may have been someone like Semler, who was saying, oh, just admit to what it is though. Like, they're not good enough to play with men. That's why you're doing this. I mean, like, I don't understand how you're taking a stance in any way against it. And poor ESL, because they're not even getting the credit they deserve. All the talk has been shifted to these morons, and yes, they are morons for having the opinion that they have. And so, like, Thorin, no surprise, this dude's legacy is just shattered. He's become a meme of the scene. He is a total, just a joke of an individual when it comes to like the shit that he blurts out there. Like, he goes unchecked too much, and this time he crossed the line where people were not willing to be like, oh, this is Thorin being Thorin,
right.
You know, like, this is him just doing what he does. Like, no, people are genuinely upset with how he spoke about this and how verbal he was, and I mean, just went on rants regarding it. I wish it was an audio so we could sit here and play it for you guys.
Well, I'm sure he did a video on it, but that would require me spending too much time on Thorin's content.
Through his videos and
I'm not going to do that.
Giving him a view, unfortunately.
Not going to do that. So and I'm with you. I don't see, like, there are certain events in history where you ask yourself, what is the right side of this event, right? Like, freeing slavery, women's suffrage, the Holocaust. There are certain events in history where there's a clear right or wrong side to be on. This, I felt like, was one of those clear situations where there's a right and wrong side to be on, and there was surprise that so many people were not only on the wrong side, and this is just, I guess, the world we live in now, where you just have to die on the hill that you started on and not be convinced otherwise. Because I don't, like you said, I don't see, regardless of, like, if you think, hey, they're doing this for publicity. Did you guys not know this is marketing? I saw Dcma, former insider, right? Remember Dcma? Tweet out saying, like, because, you know, Dcma loves himself some Dcma. And he was saying,
loves Thorin and those guys, right?
True.
So he's going to defend them.
Yes, that is true. That is true. But he's like, did you guys not realize it's just a marketing ploy? As soon as they lose money, what do you think's going to happen? And I'm like, no shit. It's like, what do you think the male sees? And I say male C side. What do you think the normal side of CS is like, right? Do you think ESL is hosting the ESL Pro League for the love of the game? Like, do you think all these majors and tournaments ran in CS that's predominantly male are for the love of the game? No. If they were losing money, they would shut it down as well. That's sports. You think the NFL hosts the NFL because they just love it so much? No, it's because it's $1 billion industry and they're going to get paid for it. So, yeah, no, we're not dumb.
Do you think the NFL is not in other activities that maybe lose them money, but yet they do it for promotional stuff or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, not everything is going to make you money. This is a good look for ESL to A, promote this, B, it's in their benefit to keep Counter-Strike a popular game, right? So even if this doesn't necessarily net them a positive on, like, the women's league, A, I promise you they're going to get some sponsorships that they maybe would not have gotten previously. And B, you're just promoting the health of the game. Like, you're bringing back a scene that we're all leaving to go to Valorant. Well, all the women players were leaving to go to Valorant because Valorant has...
Valve, if anyone should be happy about this, it should be Valve should be pitching in $500,000 of their own, because ESL is saving their ass right now, because Riot is hosting an official women's league. The game, I think it's called the Game Changers, right? They're hosting Game Changers, which is the women's side of Valorant. And so you're right. All these women pros were moving over to Valorant because, well, if there's a structure here to where we can compete in an environment that isn't toxic towards us, which, you know, sad to say, but gaming is not the most polite towards women, right? Go play any type of ranked mode, and if as soon as a woman opens the mic, you'll probably hear something. So now you have this safe place in CS. And look, I get it. Like I said, I get Semler's point of saying, like, well, this is just because they can't compete with men. They could always compete in the normal leagues, blah, 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 blah. Sure. Maybe I can buy into that from, like, a very high overview, right? But you're telling me where we're at with gaming, where it's so accessible and it's been around for so long, like, these women aren't, like, just picking up the game last week because they see these prize pools, right? They can compete. Maybe not on, like, a pro level, like Simple or these top tier men teams. Maybe, right? The point is, though, is that they've never had a chance. They don't have the opportunity to fight through the toxicity or even get a chance to be on a roster other than a full female roster. Like, and it's like, this is where I find it hard to believe, is like, even on, like, these shitty ass Mountain Dew League teams, no knock on them, right? Do you ever see, like, a mixed roster, even on, like, the semi-pro level? Like, you're telling me there's not one female out there that can compete even on a semi-pro level? Like, we saw Porter play with TSM. Was it TSM? Evil Geniuses? Evil Geniuses on in Valorant, right? They had females on their team playing on a mixed roster on a top tier level. But in CS, it's just this glass ceiling that can just not be penetrated. No, there's obviously some type of either stigma against it. Maybe it's, you know, what's the term, like ignorance, willfully ignorance, where it's just, you know, you're a dude hanging out with dudes, so it's just, you're not even thinking about looking at the female side of things. This to me is a harmless opportunity that's not going to affect the normal scene of CS that we know. It's only going to help it grow. And the best case scenario is that this finally gets women recognized, and if they can sign on to a normal, bigger roster, more power to them. I don't think we're signing... The days of signing females to your roster just because they're females are gone, right? At least at this high level. It's not going to happen anymore. So if they are getting signed, I think it's warranted. I don't give a shit that they're getting $500,000. For me, on the show, I've been very vocal that I think a lot of the female signings in esports are about sponsorships and cash grabs. I've said it 100 times with Valorant teams where it's just like, man, I just feel like this is just them checking off a box to say, yep, look at this, guys. We have females here. Good job. Let's pat ourselves on the back while we pay out millions of dollars to sexual assault charges on Riot's side. But hey, guys, look, we have a female roster. Aren't we cool now? And this, to me, was the first time that I ever thought, damn, ESL is finally doing, like, $500,000 is nothing to, you know, put your nose up to. That's
it gives incentive. I mean, it's needed, and it's not even that much, honestly. Like, I mean, 500 is like a great starting point, but it's not like it's that much. But if they can go get some big sponsors and all that, like, who knows? Next year it becomes $1 million league, $2 million league. Like, they just got to give it an opportunity. They've just it's never been done, and so just to see the backlash that we did, super disappointing.
They were acting like it was like a personal attack on the normal CS scene, and it's like, guys,
like, it was so out of left field because all there was excitement around it,
right?
And then these two morons chime in, and it really took the wind out of the sail, and the focus got shifted to them, and I'm sure their impressions were off the charts for a few days, and I hope it was worth it, because in my eyes, like, how does Thorn come back? Now, I say, how does Thorn come back from this? I've probably said that 35 times at this point, but it's just like, who's gonna hire you, dude? Like,
My thing
you
was
do your own content and whatever. You got some good friends in high places, but like, who's really bringing him on
right.
board anywhere? He got PGL out of luck. I don't know how that happened. Beyond that, I don't see it happening anywhere else.
I mean, you know, my style is like a lot of people get on their high horses, even on like this to me. Like I'm to the point now in life, Anuj, to where like I'm not going to get on a high horse to try to preach women in esports is a much needed thing and the toxicity in esports and all. I'm not going to get on my high horse because it shouldn't be needed. If you don't think that there should be this women's opportunity league, then you're not worth the time in the sense of like, ask yourself, does this affect your life in any single way? Does this affect the CS that you love and watch in any single way? And the answer to that one is possibly. And if it does affect it, it's only affecting it in the better way that we're getting other players and possibly better players involved, whether they be male or female. And if you're really going to bitch about it, you know, I thought of a neat idea is that if they really wanted to make this legit too, is maybe have the winner of this be filtered into like major qualifiers. So you have a female competing in a major. And then, you know, I saw some people saying like, well, you can't give people free passes. And I'm like, well, buddy, we've been getting Tyloo free passes for like 5 years. So
yeah, like we can just swap them out.
I think we're okay.
Yeah. It's not like we're missing out on a team that's made it beyond.
If you're telling me Tyloo can get into every major, I think we can afford a female team as well. So,
I mean, even if you just add another slot.
Add one more slot for a female team and add one more slot for an EU team to get in. Done. You're not making the brackets any different. It's keeping it even. Again, I thought it was a stupid thing to even argue about. Like, I thought this was just like it was a good vibe.
This should have been a e-news topic of like, just, hey, congrats, this is awesome. And then we're on to the next thing.
You're done. It was like such a good vibes only news story that somehow morphed into this like shit show for a week. I don't get it. But hey, that's esports for you. That's Thorn for you. Semler was the one that was out of left field for me. And I was like, okay. But I digress. Congratulations to ESL and the women of CS. In Valorant, let's burn through some of these. 100 Thieves signs. How do you say his name?
So Eccles.
Eccles? That's how. Okay. I'll agree with you.
ECIS, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows?
EC1S. Who knows?
Eccles has their IGL, leaving one more spot for them to fill.
Yeah, it's like, starting to see some of these mixed teams. You're seeing an EU player come over to NA, and so that's kind of an interesting signing on its own.
T1 is looking quite light in their rosters, as during the break they have announced that they are, well, just recently announced that they are dropping Skadoodle and Automatic. So,
I mean,
and I think they've also dropped Spider. Yeah, okay, they did drop.
Yeah, they did drop Spider too, so they're like kind of in a full rebuild
already. I don't remember
here.
talking about them dropping Spider, but they did.
But this is one of those moves where Skadoodle furthest thing from a surprise, right? Like it just feels like he's been an inactive part of the team for a long time. Like he's been there, but you don't really hear any mention of him. And he took a hiatus for a little bit, and all those other stuff. But Automatic, a little surprising that they didn't try to convince him to stay. Maybe he wanted to leave, and that's the only thing I could think of it to return to CS.
Going back to CS.
See, it seems odd to let him go.
So here's my thing. In his tweet, he mentioned that his focus on getting better this year was physical and mental health. Like that was his different approach to the game.
It's leaving Valorant.
Is it possible that being on a team with Dazed for so long and then being on a team with Steel, he was like, yeah, my mental health has no chance. I'm out. I need to move on. Just too long of time with Dazed and Steel. He's like, yeah, I can't. I'm
hoping this is just for him to go back to CS. That's what I'm hoping this is, right? So
you would think.
We'll see what happens there. But those are two the Ska move, very unsurprising.
I think Ska forgot that he was even on the roster. I think he was just in the basement with his red stapler.
Like, oh yeah, I'm not a content creator for them. I'm on the team.
So yeah, it's like, oh shit, I'm still on this roster. I had no idea. I had no idea. In a first, it's Pantheon or Path. How do you say this?
Shit, he played Overwatch before. You should know it.
Pathyfan leaves Valorant for Overwatch and joins LA Gladiators. So for the first time in the history, someone left a game to go play Overwatch.
Don't see that very often.
No.
I mean, that's a shocker, but obviously he knew his limitations, because if he felt like he had any chance to stay on a top roster in Valorant, he would have stayed. So this was more of a like, okay, this is probably not going to work out. Let me go back to a game that I know I was good at, or when I say good, top tier at, because otherwise it makes zero sense to do that.
In Valorant game news, director Joe Ziegler, that's how I would say his last name, Ziegler, leaves to start a new project. So it seems a little odd at first, but it is still going to be with Riot. So possibly MMO, the fighting game. Who knows?
It's got so many games in the works right now that's like, it's okay. It's okay for him to leave at this point, because he's been the face of the Valorant team for a while.
Right? You're there to develop it. Your kid's going off to college. You can move on to a new project. Like, your baby's grown up. It's doing well. It's fine. New agent Neon came out tomorrow. She's out, unless you're playing PTR, out tomorrow for everyone else. Looks another duelist, which I think is always good. I think the more duelist in this game, the better, because I think when hero bans and picks come out, which is rumored to be soon, at least for what people are, there's more talk about it lately, I should say. So people think it's going to happen.
And we knew this would happen as the agent pool built up. Like,
I'd like to see a little
bit more. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah,
there needs maybe we limit it to just like a ban a game or something like that.
But the duelist class, let's be real, the duelist class is your diva wide receiver. They're going to make the crazy plays, and so you need more of them, right? Like the Jet plays, the Phoenix plays.
It's supposed to be like a swap for Jet is what I'm hearing.
So that's what I'm saying, but you need more of that before you start introducing hero bans, because if people ban Jet, you still need a flashy player to replace them with. Not necessarily a one-for-one clone, but just something to switch up a team's play style. Either way, she's out. She looks pretty cool. Has this wall of water that she can like step in the middle of. Thought that was pretty neat. And Tensky leaves CSGO to join Team Heretics in Valorant, which not the greatest start. Was he already in the match today that they failed to qualify for?
I actually don't know if he was or not. I saw the announcement today.
Heretics did not do well in their early qualifiers for VCT, so I don't know if Tensky was on that roster. That'd be something. So there's some Valorant news for you. Also, VCT qualifiers are starting here for Europe and that side of the pond, so things are starting to ramp up. In Halo news, Complexity joins in to the Halo fun with their new roster, as well as Halo's going online for their next event, except for the top 8. So pretty much California must be locking down on COVID again, because I've noticed any esport event in California, like, all made an announcement within the hour that they're moving to online with no crowds. So
it's funny because I just watched a Rams game.
I don't get it
yesterday.
Don't get me started in
100,000 people there. I'm just confused. I'm confused on how this works in esports. Like, maybe we're just more cautious. And look, I don't blame. I mean, everybody's getting COVID right now. Like, it's.
Oh yeah.
Getting
I'm not saying COVID isn't bad. I'm saying I don't get the rules anymore. For what?
Like how it's determined that like an NFL game can go on with no mask mandate, and yet
an esport event with 2,000 people is just a complete no-go. I don't get it. I don't like it. I think esports should just give up on California and move to Texas, where they're still hosting events. I don't know if I want to say just fine, but they're hosting them. I don't know what the outcome is afterwards, but you can at least host them and get some money. So there's that. In Call of Duty, the COD bashing over the past week. Oh, so this is pretty much, COD has had a busy roundabout go. So I don't even know how you want to sum this up, but
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to sum up right now. Like maybe this just becomes a topic later on, but like just kind of know that the gist. Like the last couple of weeks have been really tough, right? Because especially with Halo's arrival, you're seeing a game that launched with a competitive ranked mode. You see a league that launched with skins in game. Oh, and by the way, when the game launched, there was a kickoff event that was part of the overall like HCS series, right? It's not like it was just like a Twitch Rivals event that was big for kickoff. Like it was a legit major that took place. Here we are months into the release of COD. We don't have a third game mode. We don't know the schedule. I think they just released some scheduling stuff today, actually. But for the first time, they just released some stuff. The game is not in a good place, so it's taking a lot of slack, and rightfully so. Like the players, the owners, all kind of need to step up here because the game is just like shit tier for the most part. Like Warzone is keeping Call of Duty alive, and until everybody is really vocal about it and keeps applying the pressure, I don't know if it still even then changes, but at least it's like you're not helping them in any way, right? By keeping silent. So
it's just been a very high contention right now, and even like the owners, right? Like Nadeshot and Hex did a good, pretty, I don't know if it was a podcast or just them discussing it on Twitch on Nadeshot's stream. But if you could find it, it's like a 2-hour conversation, and it was really good. Like they just
another good one on Hex is their podcast when he had Hastro on, and then Scump and Formal. They also did a like fairly long length conversation about it, and all like well said. Like you can see Hex is a little bit more outspoken. Hastro's a little bit more business-like in his approach when he talks about it. But even Hastro was kind of sounding off on a lot of the changes they need to make. So everybody knows it's in a bad place. We're all basically just waiting for Call of Duty next year to see if it's any better. Because I think this year's
season
kind of chalked.
Season hasn't even started.
Hasn't even started, but it feels chalked already. Does it not?
It already feels like it's over. Like people are talking like the season's already over when it hasn't even begun. So not a great start. What might be a little promising for some people to hear, though, some leakers and data miners out there have been looking at map designs for the upcoming Call of Duty, and word on the street is that they are taking ideas or being inspired by Counter-Strike for some of their map designs.
I saw that, and for me, it's all wait and see with Call of Duty because everything is just talk until it happens with that game.
Yeah, I am. Look, that would be interesting because for me, Call of Duty maps have always been very distinguishable, right? And that's why I've never liked Search and Destroy on Call of Duty, even from a spectator's point of view, because the maps were never designed to be Search and Destroy Counter-Strike-esque, right? They were designed for respawns and rotations, not, one set spawn going up against another one with bomb sites. It's just never been designed that way. So if they're thinking of it that way, it at least has me excited, even if you have maps that are specifically meant for more Search and Destroy-esque stuff. But I'm excited for that. In other news here, League of Legends news, LCS, as we said, also being in California, they're going to be competing remotely this year as well. In Brazil, Riot announced that anyone attending events in the Brazilian region, including staff, players, anyone, fans, will have to be vaccinated and show proof of vaccinations to get in.
I mean, for Valorant, Crew Esports' coach lost his job because he refuses to get vaccinated. He's a Brazilian team. So they ended up replacing him because of this rule, and he took a hard stance on, not wanting to get vaccinated. And so, everybody has a choice, but don't be surprised if your choice has consequences. So
yeah, I don't know why they can get vaccinated and host events, but California's like, no, I don't get the rules of COVID, but we live by them. Speaking of rules, Riot Games had to pay $100 million in settlement for their class action lawsuit of gender discrimination. So I don't know if that's enough for some people. Some people might say it is. Some people might say it's little. I'm just reporting the news, Anuj. That's all I got for that.
Think it's like a long time coming. It's obviously somewhat of an admittance of guilt, right? Like you did something wrong while you're settling for $100 million. But yeah, somehow this just doesn't really get talked about that much. Like
No.
it just kind of like, oh yeah, silly riot,
100 million to
touch,
pay for sexual assault.
touching vaginas. Look at them go, grabbing a tit again.
Did you guys see that new skin though? Did you see that new Valorant skin? Like, very. Look, it's very odd. It's just, yeah, I'm with you. It's
We
just
have more
weird.
female agents than male agents in the game,
Right.
so we're doing something right.
It is odd that Riot just kind of gets a pass from the mass population.
I think it's because their whole like Valorant side is like a big thirst trap. Like if you follow Valorant Twitter, it's a bunch of horny little kids. That's like all it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, same thing with League of Legends, right?
Yeah, true.
So it's they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. In other news, Twitch has been yet again the discussion of the Dcma rules, basically banning high Twitch people. I think was it Pokimane,
Pokemon,
however you say her name.
There's a lot that are getting strikes on their account right now, though.
So I have a hard time feeling bad for them because
don't feel bad one bit. It's the stupidest thing.
I get like, you get people on Twitch and the streamers are like, well, how are we supposed to know we were letting us do it? And Twitch watched us do it and then they banned me for it like 2 weeks later. That's not fair. They should tell me right away. Listen, whatever you put up on your channel, you're responsible for. If you don't know streaming like an entire TV show and or movie is against rules, like that's like common sense here, people. You can't like just be like, guys, guess what? We're going to watch this brand new Spider-Man movie. Or, say, for example, Matrix, right? Because that's on a streaming platform. We're going to watch this brand new Matrix movie that is behind a paid prescription on HBO. But I'm going to watch it on my stream, okay? Like,
I paid for this content, so I can do this.
Right. I can do whatever I want.
Dumbest shit ever. It's really like, don't feel bad. Because it was a dumb move and they all did it because they knew they were getting views off of it. One person did, like Trainwreck was doing Master Chef, I think, for a long time, and then a whole slew of people started
was doing it.
Yeah, it's just dumb to think that you could play paid content on your channel and get away with it when you're showing it to thousands and thousands of people is just stupid. And now for you to cry about it makes you look dumb and stupid in my mind.
My favorite thing is the streamers are like, yeah, but we're giving you popularity. Like, they don't give a shit about that. That's money.
They want subscribers on their platforms.
Right.
That's what they want.
Like you're not giving them money.
You're not giving them subscribers on their platform because you are showing it.
So pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. Again, streamers like sitting here crying like they're the victim, but like that one seems pretty freaking obvious to me, right?
Yeah.
Getting banned for music in the background, okay, I understand where you're like, but I'm not like doing anything with the music. Straight up playing a movie. This is what happens, Anuj, when these youngsters, these kids nowadays didn't grow up with Napster or Pirate Bay. They don't understand what torrenting a movie, like back in our day, you
risked getting hundreds of viruses to get one movie.
Yeah.
And that was okay. The labels were okay with that, I feel. They're like, you know what? Watch your one movie.
Yeah.
We have all your information.
We got all your information and enjoy this porn bomb if you click on the wrong file. Have fun bringing that to Best Buy's Geek Squad there, buddy. Like, back in our day, you just had to accept the fact that, you know what? This movie might be recorded on a VHS tape, and it might be shot through some pervert's like trench coat in the middle of the movie theater, but it's free, so I'm gonna watch it. It might have Korean subtitles on it, but hey, it's free, so I'll watch it. Now these people are just trying to stream a movie on Twitch or a show on Twitch and be like, "What's the matter? I don't get it." Okay, I don't know if I have to explain to you that one. I just think maybe just stick to playing video games. How about that? On the Liquid news, this is kind of big. Liquid announced that they have some new part owners. Names of note: Hungrybox and Elige are now part owners of Liquid.
Love that. And you're seeing that more often, right? We saw that with 100 Thieves, with Courage and Valkyrie. Those are streamers, obviously, not esports players. I think this, sounds like a first for, not a first, but not many esports players have vested interest in their organization beyond just being a player for them. So this is very cool. And those are two people that have been with their organizations for a number of years now and have put a lot into it and helped grow the brand. So I think it's cool.
How cool for Hungrybox, where it was not that long ago, like 4 years ago maybe, that this guy quit he was still working a full-time job. Top Melee player in the world. He was one of the Melee gods still. But as we know, the fighting game just doesn't pay. So this guy's a top player in the world, traveling, competing, everything, while still working a full-time cubicle job. And now he's part owner of Liquid. Like, not a bad turnaround for the guy.
Doing okay for himself.
Yeah,
and good for him. Very, very deserving.
Yeah, because you want to talk about, like, opposite of, like, him and Simp is, like, he streams Smash Ultimate and Melee. Like, he does both. He hosts personal Melee tournaments or, Smash tournaments. He mixes it up. So, yeah, like, he does so much for the scene. A liege. Can't say a bad thing about him. Happy for both of them. Dr. Disrespect announced that he is officially starting a AAA gaming studio. He's been talking about this for a long time. I'm glad to see.
Teased it several times.
I'm glad to see that it was actually real. I'm not going to lie. I never really believed him, but it is cool to see. I guess we'll wait and see.
I'm very curious to see what they put out because that is cool, and he's got a background in it from Call of Duty.
A lot of pressure, though, right?
Stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, a lot of pressure, but he'll have a lot of hype and won't have to do much to sell some copies. And so hopefully they put out a good product too. So we'll see how serious it is now that it's been announced, right? Like what's next, and so that's going to be huge.
I expect amazing map design. Because that's what he did back in the day for Call of Duty was map design. So I expect some very good for
fast, high momentum. Yeah. Like it's going to be a dark type game, and that should be exciting for all FPS players.
You know what will be interesting, because for a long time he's been such a vocal fan of these games. Now that he's the boss, it'll be interesting to see where a normal, I say average Joe like us, like a normal player. Like, well, okay, you finally, all these things that you've bitched about, here you go. You can do it. Let's see if it works out, right?
So Unreal Engine 5 is out. Like, they can do some cool shit and come out with a bang. So
I'm excited.
It's going to really be fun to see.
I am also excited that there is a Splinter Cell remake in the works announced by Ubisoft.
Gotta tell you, Tim, I know what it is. I know what it is very much so. Never played Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell Pandora's Box had some of the most... It might be the most underrated multiplayer game of all time. It was a 2v2. You had 2 spies versus 2 mercenaries. And like the whole point, I vaguely remember this because I don't think I was probably playing properly. I probably pissed off a lot of teammates. But it's like you were supposed to, I think, get an item if you were a spy, and then you were defending if you were mercs. I think that was the point of the game. Maybe it was just to kill each other. All I worried about, I know with the merc, you could like bull rush them and like pin them against the wall, and that's pretty much all I tried doing, but it was awesome. So if they bring that back, if they bring the multiplayer back,
it'd be cool. They're remaking it. It's going to look great. I mean, I'd love to try it. I know it's an amazing game. It's
awesome. It is awesome.
Into it.
Well deserved for a remake. Hopefully that means they are bringing it back. Right? It's been gone forever.
Yeah.
So hopefully they bring it back. In sad news, we've lost many people while we were off. Rest in peace to gaming legend John Madden, where, former football coach, obviously, but just
transformed the sporting game genre.
Yeah, I
mean, for sure. Like made it like a real thing, right? You had Techno Bowl and all these games before, but Madden's game took it to a new level with the way play calling was done and actions within the game. Like it was really something else. And then obviously just having his voice in the game, was so cool. So
yeah.
R.I.P. We really did lose a lot of people.
Well, we got John Madden. Betty White died 2 weeks before her 100th birthday.
That's kind of fucked up. That sucks.
A legend in her right.
Bob Saget yesterday.
Bob Saget passed away.
That was really
65. No warning.
So young.
They said no foul play. No drugs were involved.
Say that? I'm curious to see the toxicology report because he was also found dead in a hotel room. And to me, with celebrities that have had like some sort of history of drug use, you always kind of just want.
That's
for
what
me,
I think.
I want to wait.
I don't think and this
Even
is
if
all
it was,
speculating.
it doesn't matter.
Right. I don't want to
Like
speculate on the guy's death, but I can only imagine it might not have been drugs now, but you can't have the best of heart if you have a history of drug use. Like, even if you stopped, any type of like hardcore drug use probably doesn't help your case in life. But
yeah,
either way,
and definitely gone too young, and just to hear all the stories about him, it seems like nobody disliked Bob Saget, whether
No.
you were a viewer of, just somebody that enjoyed watching him on his TV shows from Full House to everything else that he's done, or if you were somebody that's worked with him. Everybody has just said good things about him, and so definitely a legend gone too soon. And and then just lost a lot of other big legends, like you had mentioned, with Betty White and John Madden over the last few weeks.
So on that note, we do have the Timmies next week. We always do an in memoriam section. So if you know anyone within the gaming industry, esports, players, casters, developers, whoever, right? Operators, camera people, whatever. If there's anything that you know of, hit us up in DMs, hit us up in Discord so we can get them on the list for next week. And to wrap up e-news here, 2 more. The 24-hour Le Mans virtual. So they're esporting events for the 24 Le Mans, Anuj, if you know what that is.
I do.
Starts on the 15th. Big news here, and this is why we put sim racing at a C tier, okay? Which is good, I would say, for sim racing. Like, C tier is pretty respectable.
Considering they came from nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Anuj, they have, competing in this event, Max Verstappen, F1 champion, just won Formula One.
A questionable champion.
Champion nonetheless. And Alex Palou, which is the IndyCar champion of this last season.
A pretty badass.
You have like the Formula One and the IndyCar champions competing in your esport event. You're doing pretty damn well.
It just makes me wish I had the full rig at my house.
You don't need, just get the wheel.
Sitting,
just get the wheel, and that's all you need.
I
know
like,
it's cool. It's cool to have the rig and everything. But
I know myself, though, that would be a true impulse buy that I just wouldn't use enough to like.
That's why we have to force each other to use it. Be like, all right, it's Wednesday. Wednesday is race night. Like, we're not getting on Fortnite.
We say that, and then all it's going to take is one MMO to F everything up.
Okay, MMO's different. That don't include an MMO because that ruins any game for us.
Yeah.
We could be in the middle of the best Counter-Strike run of our lives. We could be one day away from signing contracts with Extra Salt. If a WoW expansion comes out, we're done.
It's like let's go play this for a little bit.
We can never be a pro gamer because it takes one stupid ass MMO to just kill every momentum that we have. But nonetheless, two huge champions coming into their esport event. Not
Very
bad.
cool.
Not bad.
No.
And E3 has announced that it will not be in person this year, and there may not even be an event at all for 2022.
Which is like so sad because I've told you for so long that that's one of my bucket list things to go to, and I'm really dreading that I just didn't make that happen. And I almost feel like even if it did come back, it's just not
going to be the same.
Like, everybody has their own event now. Like, everyone's got their own, major event where they do all their own releases. And I don't blame them for doing it, but like E3 was just really like a one-of-a-kind thing that I just don't think we'll ever see again. And so, not E3 in general, just what E3 was.
I want to say we talked about it last E3, that is, asking like, is COVID the death of E3? Like, and I really kind of like, it was already like kind of on life support as far as being what it was, because you had like Nintendo backing out. Sony barely did anything with it now because Sony does their own event.
Microsoft does their own event.
I just feel like it's not what it used to be.
All the publishers are doing their own events. Like, everybody's got their own thing going on. So maybe now I switch my focus to like scratch off E3 off the bucket list and replace it with CES. And maybe that's what I go to
CES
instead.
would be cool. CES would be cool. Or like even like PAX East, like the big PAX, right? Like that would be cool to go to. But yeah, CES would be pretty cool, seeing all the new tech that you'll never buy because scalpers and bots buy it all. But it'd be cool to at least see it on a showroom floor, because that's going to be the only time we get to see it. But there you go. There you have it. There is all the news that happened in our 3 weeks of absence. A lot a lot to get to.
A lot happened. And we'll probably come back and talk about some of these in topics coming up, because they're just naturally, like, these are just, this is just kind of the start, especially going through all that CS stuff. These roster moves are going to be broken down and discussed, and, you know, see it one talked about once they're actually playing. And you know, Call of Duty League is actually starting up, so we'll see if everything that everyone is saying kind of holds up and makes for a crappy year, or do they find a way to turn it around? I mean, there's just quite a bit that we'll get back to in some form.
Yeah, because it looks like even for CS, maybe the first big events is Katowice in February. Is that right? Still a month away until that kicks off, but I mean, looks on Wikipedia, that's kind of the next big event. Yeah. So we still have a while for these rosters to shake out and set up. So exciting stuff either way. And of course, next week is the Timmys. So get your in memoriam people that we need to shout out for. Get your categories and nominations into us if you haven't done so already, because we are rocking the Timmys. It's our esports awards show that we do every year next week. So looking forward to that. It will be live. We do it live. We don't pre-record. So
you'll be able to see everything.
Yeah. So there you have it. It's episode 368. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much to Philly Esports for sponsoring the show. Go to phillyesports.com. Sign up for their monthly tournaments completely free. Win cash prizes. Easy peasy. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. All that fun stuff. Join our Discord. You know what to do. Blah, blah, blah. We will be back next week for the Timmys. Dreams will be made. Hearts will be crushed. But hey, someone's got to do it. It's also not too late. Hit us up in PayPal if you want to win an award. Just pay us. You know.
We don't have a donation button.
No, we don't have a donation button, but you can still find ways to pay us. You know, we'll let you know that. But if you want to win an award, that's the easiest way to do so. Anyways, that's it for Anuj. I'm Tim. We'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.
Not much, Jimmy. Not much. That price is very low. So you can even let us know what you want to be nominated for. Best esports player? Sure.
Done.
Right. Done.
Welcome to... If it was ever your dream to beat out Simple for best esports player, we can make it happen. We should just have a category for most paid for. Just whoever pays us the most, just a blind auction. Whoever gives us the most money can win that Timmy.
Yeah.
The sellout award.
I mean, honestly, if you haven't been blocked by Thorn yet, you just need to tweet more.
We both have been blocked by Thorn, and I've literally, A, I didn't even follow him, and B, never even tweeted at him. He had to have listened to the show and then went to ban us. Like, that's the only way. Because I never
tweeted at him. I never even tagged him in a tweet.
I don't get it. I mean, I get why he would ban me, because we make fun of him all the time on the show, but
turn this game on, Tim.
I saw that it's can I stream it? Should I stream it? Is that how this works?
Yeah, I think you can. Why not? You're paying for cable, aren't you?
I paid for the cable. Actually, I'm not. My parents are, but you know.
So you're streaming an illegal stream?
Actually, I always stream illegal streams, so they honestly normally have better quality than if you go to like the official ESPN stream, so. But I did see they were Georgia was up by 1, right?
Up by 8 now.
Oh, yeah, they just scored. Hoo, boy. Oh, PUBG's free to play now. Yeah, we forgot to add that.
Oh, you know what? I put that in the news. In the news section.
I know. I think I forgot. You said it, and so I probably rolled over it.
Yeah. I didn't.
I honestly thought PUBG has been free to play for years.
I don't think this helps them in any way, unfortunately.
No. Because again, at this point in life, if you wanted to play PUBG, you've already played it, right? Like, there's no one who.
Yeah, it's not new to anyone.
Like, it had to have been on sale like 1,000 times this time for like $5. Like,
and after going and playing Super People, it doesn't encourage me to go back and play PUBG in any way.
No, I did not like Super People. I did not like it at all.
Let's go ahead and I want to go ahead and uninstall.
I'm doing that right now, actually. Who was it? I think someone was asking in Discord if Super People was any good, and I was like, no. We played it for like an hour or two, and
I mean, it's good if you like PUBG. That's it, though. If you're a huge BR fan and you liked PUBG, you're gonna like Super People. It's a better version.
Hold on, I'm about to launch Spyro here because I clicked on Super People to uninstall, and it double-clicked Spyro. Jesus Christ. I cannot wait for this mouse. Even that night when I went to your house, it's like I looked up so much on the mice, and I was like, I can't. I don't want to risk it. I just want the Death Adder. I owe it to the Death Adder. It's given me like 15 good years as a cable.
A smart move.
Like, it's given me a lifetime of memories. Well, that sucks. So this is in Indianapolis, and you can still see the Colts logo on the 50-yard line.
I think the world needs to forget about the Colts after this weekend.
That's so funny.
That's the worst loss in NFL history.
Like, all you had to do was tie it, right? They just had to tie, and they would have gone to it, and then they...
I mean, no reason not to win that game.
Lions won. That's all I care about.
I know, right?
And like, some people were like, "Oh yeah, but it cost them a draft pick." Who cares? Like, do you know how many #1 picks the Lions have had? Like, do you think I care about that? No.
And the thing is, there's no like star quarterback coming out, so you're gonna get a good player,
right?
You know. And you're probably gonna mess that up anyway. So
right? Exactly. Like, it doesn't matter. But I'll take building a positive winning culture. In the last 6 weeks, they were 3 for 3.
Oh, okay.
So I'll take it. All right, everyone in chat. I'm gonna kill the stream so we can get to editing. I'm gonna watch the rest of this football game.
Love you guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. But yes, we are gonna catch the last 2-3 minutes here. So thank you, Doman. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you for tuning in as always.
Later, boys. Oh, I'm gonna start streaming a little bit more too for you people watching. So, you know, just keep an eye on Twitter, because we'll tweet out when we're live, or if you follow the chat or anything like that.
If you want to watch Fortnite no build mode, tune in.
Yeah, right.
And then in February, you'll probably see us streaming some Lost Ark. Tim's got to help me get my stream set back up. Everything expired and no longer lets me do anything, so I don't mind throwing it on occasionally when I'm playing some of these games too.
Yeah, because when Lost Ark comes out, I think we're gonna hit that.
We know we'll be playing, so
we're gonna hit it pretty hard.
Yeah,
pretty hard for now. But all right, later, boys.